talking about this now?
You know, first of all, I want to say that what Ambassador Olukoni and Mr. Idris have said, fair comment. I mean, the first thing I said was that it's really not easy and it's a progressive journey. Ken, I want to thank you for being thorough and well prepared as usual. You really got it right about the indicators and what we look at, the cost, the speed. We also look at transparency, and that's where the discussion on automation comes in. Now, homegrown, because I want to focus less on the World Bank. First of all, that's done with, but it was a good template. But we've taken it further than that. Homegrown, our homegrown baseline survey looked at security, infrastructure, access to information, work readiness. I like what you said about it being a problem inflicted on Nigerians by Nigerians. Because you could hear the frustration from actually a public servant, frustrated with his colleagues. Because if any PC is talking like this, what Mr. Ezeagu is referring to is challenges he's having with other government agencies. So what the council is doing is actually the Secretariat is a transformation office working with ministries, departments, and agencies, about 55 of them. We track them on a compliance report, EO1 compliance report. We have 3 so far, so it's been 3 years of tracking them, and we rank them. So you can look at that and see where each agency falls. Instead of us looking outwards, let's even bring it home. You will know which agencies private sector is referring to. When you're talking about automation, what does it take an exporter? NEPC is a member of the Agro-Exports ad hoc committee that the Vice President had to set up in November to look into some of these issues, specifically for perishable agro-exports that are really in pain, and came up with an escalation all the way to the presidency, which I've been coordinating that initiative, and it's also chaired by the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment. Now, we try to get government agencies to work with each other and to focus on the people issues, the process issues, and infrastructure. Of course, the hard infrastructure challenges are up to the honorable ministers, Minister of Power, Minister of Works, Minister of Digital Economy and Communication, because we need broadband, we need airports, Minister of Aviation, Minister of Transportation. These are their mandates. And I believe you've mentioned rail, you've mentioned several things going on. But when it comes to soft infrastructure, it is a journey of collaboration, institutionalization. It is a pragmatic journey of consequence management, the officers on the ground relating with Nigerian MSMEs. So decisions are taken at council level, ministerial level, heads of agency level. We are really trying to trickle it down by tracking what each ministry, department, and agency is delivering in terms of time, speed, cost. Tracking with state governments also. We talked about multiple taxation. AMAC was recently invited onto the PEBEC, the first local government, to drill it down to that level. It's not something that is, behavior is difficult to change, but we've been at it 5 years now. Sometimes it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, because the system resists change, and you get a reform. After a while, there's an attempt to revert, and these are Nigerians to Nigerians. And I was so glad you made that point, because whether it's government, whether it's really human beings, business owners, and public and civil servants, there's also, let's just call the elephant in the room, corruption. Let's just call the elephant in the room. But corruption is a two-way street. There are people demanding and extorting. There are people paying to facilitate and even get ahead of their competitors. There are people that already know who they call to sort things out. And they cause a bottleneck for others that are not able to or willing to do that. So the system is like a logjam. It's just like being in traffic and some people are shunting. So both the giver and the taker are frustrating the system. But what I want us to do here today is focus on where we have started tracking these things. It's been 3 years of Executive Order 1 compliance reports. I can send them to all of you, and they're on our website. So you will see the agencies by name, and you will see the scores. Transparency, ports operations, efficiency, starting a business, and you'll see where they all rank. Consequence management is a big thing. We've also had a lot of commendations. There are agencies that have, in fact, NEPC is one of the agencies that have been commended. Streamlining their procedures, their service level agreements, adhering to the timelines. How many times do you adhere to your timeline? What private sector says. So we track with the Office of the Head of Service, Servicom. We look at, they submit monthly reports, which are tracked. So we try to focus on, that's why I was downplaying rankings, not because rankings are not important, but it's not really rankings that will move the needle. We don't tick boxes here. I mean, that's really not a good use of a special advisor's time. We're very, very granular. And a lot of stakeholder engagement. We were on a national tour, Lituation, before COVID. We have several stakeholder engagements. We have our report.gov.ng application where we receive complaints, and every agency on that portal has a back end working on those. So I want to appeal to Nigerians, please make reports. Don't tweet about it only, and don't vent about it and throw up your hands like this is how the system is. No, we all make the system. So it's like everybody queuing up. If everybody queues up, everything would dissipate in no time. But once you have some cars going in, both the person letting them in and the person out there trying to jump the queue, both are guilty. So we can make the system work. We can work on the system. It's not something like a snap of the fingers. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. It's a very hot seat. When people say, oh, Dr. Oduwole, you're on the driver's seat of ease of doing business, it's a very hot seat. But it takes collaboration. I want to commend like the National Assembly partnering with us. We've had the CAMA. We've had legislations, the credit bureaus, access to credits, collateral registry. These are some of the legislative interventions. We have coming up our omnibus bill, which is a business facilitation bill that scoops up a lot of irritants. That's ready to go to FEC now. It's been taken in an executive bill by the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. Once it gets through FEC, it's going to the National Assembly. They've been waiting for it for about 18 months now. We've been engaging with stakeholders, Nigerian Bar Association section of business law, and a lot of law firms, over 40 from across the country. And we got feedback from people. We partnered with NESG, NASPAR, very broad collaboration. We have a lot of work to do. And it's not like, oh, government or, oh, ease of doing business. It's everybody, because we're competing. AFCFTA, I know that you would, in fact, you've been restrained on going into that. You've really focused. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if we go into that, that's a whole conversation on its own. So we're just focusing on how do we move the reforms? It's by adhering to the rules, letting the system work. Both public sector, public and civil servants, and private sector business owners, let us adhere to these rules. Let us desist from corrupt practices. Let us be efficient and transparent in what we do. Let us leverage technology and not resist change. And let us deliver the economy that we know we can deliver and we should deliver. It's a new year. Let's start and do it right.
All right.